Hello everybody, welcome back to our campaign as the French, Medieval Total War Glorious Achievements mode, and we're running away with it. We are sitting at 183 points to the English's 162, but look at all of this, and comparatively, look at all of that. We are just going to keep getting farther and farther ahead. So the last checkpoint, we've actually got two, 1425 and 1453. Unless something really drastically changes here, I imagine we're going to be just fine for victory. So what am I a little bit worried about? Well, the papacy, as we talked about last time. The papacy is certainly the biggest threat in Europe at the moment. You can look at the mini-map in the upper left-hand corner to see everything that looks vaguely yellow is owned by the Pope. Remember, the Spanish are eliminated, and it's just them. And they're going kind of wild. They are going into places that were held by rebels. I believe they're now at war with the English still. Yeah, they've got them under siege in Tyrolia, for example. So there may be no stopping them. They own Norway. They own Scotland. They own North Africa, Iberia, Italy. Parts of, near Poland? They're getting into the steppes. They've got Constantinople. But they don't have Northumbria. They can't take that away from the rebels just yet. And Sweden. Sweden also. All right, interesting. We do have also a civil war going on here within the English, but this looks like a rebellion. Possibly it's an invasion from Finland on the part of the people of Novgorod, but I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. Oh, wow. Look at this big civil war here. So, yeah, the papacy, I guess, invaded, but the English rebels are kicking them out. All right, and we've got the Italians, kind of back and excommunicated. All right, so yeah, this just got a lot worse for everybody who is not the Pope. As you can see, just the rebellion here is kind of nuts. So we're just going to keep kind of clicking through the years just to check our trade routes again. We've got every place with a port occupied, and a few that don't have ports just to make sure we're safe. In terms of our diplomacy, we're only at war with the English, so that is just going to continue to be irrelevant as they continue to lose provinces. So our income is just going to keep growing. Not that it matters. I mean, we are... Is it 15 million that we're at? No, 1 million. 503,141. Okay, we lost a Carrick there. So we'll just shuffle. All right. More for visibility than anything else. Okay, so we've lost the Khan of the Golden Horde, the leader of the Polish. All right, let's check out this crusade now. Yeah, 312 men. We can bring other troops. Really, this is not something we need to back because we've got a lot of stuff here, right, that we can just move over from Ile-de-France. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll just get the Crusade to Flanders. Next turn, it'll move in with support, and we should be able to do this pretty easily. So I don't think anyone's going to jump on it. Maybe the Germans will, but at that point, we will be invading together with them. I think we're allied. English kind of getting some stuff back, but losing as well. We've got a loyalist revolt in Khazar, so this is very interesting. Who's the rebellion? It's the English, it looks like. Number of rebel provinces joining the revolt is 10. So this is, I believe, the English who are going to get all of their territory back. Let's see, can we see that? Yeah, like Novgorod here, this is rebel on the mini-map, but it's on the actual map, it's English. So Livonia, same thing, yeah. So basically the English are going to get everything back here. Italians eliminated yet again. And the True Cross found. Zeal increased throughout Italy. Alright, so actually this was not such a big resurgence for the English as I thought. I guess they got a lot of Turkey back, but they may have a hard time keeping it. Okay, but the main thing is we've got troops to move into Lorraine now. What is this? Loyalist revolt. Yeah, but who owned it? I mean, typically you don't see a loyalist revolt against the rebels. Well, anyway, let's move, I guess we can move, like, all of these guys in. The Alsatian rebels, yeah, we'll just move all of you. I guess I'll leave you guys outside. And I think we want to leave a strong presence in Burgundy. I kind of want to leave a strong presence in Ile-de-France too. But we can move, like, these knights in. And let's just make sure the public order looks fine, which I imagine it is. Interesting. I don't know that I've seen this. Crusade arrives in Lorraine. Your crusade has reached its destination. The rebels currently have control of this province, and they have agreed to hand it over peaceably. I don't remember this mechanic. I mean, I may have encountered it in the past, but it's surprising to me now. So that's the fun thing about getting older. You know, you may have had experiences before, but they seem novel to you as you go through life. But this is great, though. Very cool. So the rebels are just giving us Lorraine. Do I not need to besiege it? I mean, there were still English people here. Okay. Okay, so they're sallying out from the castle. And, you know, this is just going to be a tiny little battle. We'll auto-calc this. Very good. We'll execute the ringleaders. And our leader has died. So we've got a new king of France. Oh, okay. We didn't actually get the castle in that victory. Sure, I'll ally with the Polish here. I'm not that concerned about it at this point. So let's just do the final thing of assaulting the castle there. Make sure the loyalty looks fine. And our new king is right in Ile-de-France, Charles VI, 36 years old, hard sums, unmarried currently. Let's check the heirs tab. Okay, he's got a younger brother and another younger brother on the way. So this is all good, but let's see if we can find a princess for him. It might be kind of rough. Okay, there's one right there, actually. Right in Bavaria. So do we have an emissary around? We got one in Swabia, right next door. So let's see if we can get this German princess, Salomea. She's 25 years old. Because he's probably not going to be our last king. 1453 is still, you know, almost 50 years away. So we're going to need another person to take over. And that, you know, that could be his little 14-year-old brother, I guess. And here we are ready to assault. We'll just auto-calc that. They've only got 10 men defending. and victory. We lost 482, but took all of them and pillaged it for 1,000. So that's going to bring the fortifications down a bit. But we've got a successful crusade, and that's really nice for our new king. Let's check out his influence here. And we've got a marriage. Great. So he, yep, Charles the 6th, 37. Now he's got what I think is a couple crowns. I think last time he had 4. So now he's up to 6. He's married. Hard sums. Very nice. And he'll start producing heirs. Very good. And very good. We've got a ceasefire with the English. Now that we... they don't have anything that we really want at this point. They're getting trounced down here in Anatolia. So a ceasefire is just fine with me. You know, the papacy is going to be occupying their attention. They've also got some rebels in Armenia that they perennially have to deal with. Now that we can have a ceasefire with them, we can maybe avoid having to defend Outremer. All right, the Pope now is dead, which means the English excommunication is over. The war probably will continue, so they may be excommunicated again, but at least that gives them a bit of a reprieve there. Let's see how they're doing. Tons of influence on this guy. Meanwhile, our own king, he's still at 6 influence. Hardly seems fair. Just to double check, we've got, I believe, yeah, we've got all of our homelands. And we've just won a crusade, so I would imagine that should be ticking up gradually. But let's see, where's the war? Yeah, English are at war with everybody. Not excommunicated right now, but maybe again soon. Yep, there they go. All right, English excommunicated again. And we learn that the English are planning to attack the Germans. That's fine. They've got, okay, some papal bribery happening in Anatolia. The Pope has really, over the past few years, tried to get this, but not been successful. So we'll see if that works out for them. They've got all these forces here. They're just not bringing it all to bear for some reason. Yeah, that seems to have done it. The English are being kicked out, at least temporarily, of Anatolia. But as you can see, they keep refusing to bring a big army. So there could be a counterattack that may drive the papacy out again. I guess we'll see. One thing that I do need to do is get some ships back up here into the north. We've had a bit of a fall off here. Let's just get you over to the Baltic. That should get everything right again in terms of visibility. But yeah, the papacy has really just taken over the entirety of mainland Europe, at least by what we can tell here. Maybe there's some more English holdouts up here. Maybe Novgorod is even resurgent. So we'll see if that reveals next. Alright, yeah, actually Novgorod has... Well, I guess they had this, didn't they? They had Muscovy, nobody wants it. They've got Finland, but the English still have Novgorod. Papacy did take Livonia, but yeah, the English and the Golden Horde and some rebels over here, so it all looks much the same. Well, it happened. The papacy has started throwing their weight around, and now the Germans are on the receiving end. So the Germans are excommunicated, and now we have to decide. I think we're going to stick with the papacy. So we were no longer allied with the Germans. That does theoretically open up a bit of a risk on our eastern border here. Lorraine and Burgundy are the two provinces where they border. That's it, and these places are pretty strong, and the Germans are pretty weak. So not too worried about it, and I imagine that the Germans will be eliminated pretty soundly. I mean, look at this. They actually had the gall to invade Bavaria, did so. They've got some, good troops for defeating this almost entirely ranged force. A lot of their knights and such. But that's the strongest that they have. Everything else is pretty lame, and the papacy will just be able to counterattack, I'm sure. But the thing I'm wondering now is, so we've got like 2 years before 1425. That is a counting point. And, at some point, I think the papacy has got to look around and realize that that I'm the next biggest target. Certainly bigger than the Germans, bigger than the English at this point. And they may figure that since I'm winning the game in terms of points, maybe they want to start hitting me too. I'm definitely the richest. I don't know, how much that's going to play into their calculations, honestly. Polish excommunicated? Jeez. All right, we're going to stick with the papacy. And we're just going to keep going with this. They actually did not counterattack into Bavaria, which is shocking. They easily could have. Or maybe they did, but the attack failed. So the Germans still have Bavaria. I don't know how long they're going to have it. I wish them well, but I just can't. At this point, I'm not going to throw in with the Germans and have to fight this tapioca pudding here. Okay. And there's a rebellion here. This is a papal rebellion, though, in the favor of, the papacy. So they're getting all the luck. Okay, we've got a homelands completion. 21 points completed there. So let's just keep going with this. 1453 is the next and final point counting moment in the game. 1453, and that's 28 turns in the future. All right, the Polish are eliminated, and the Germans will be soon. They did get kicked out of Bavaria. Let's see if we get anything new. Wow. Okay, this is a different goal. Valois claims. The perfidious Plantagenet kings of England lay title to lands that are rightfully French. Cast the ignoble curs back to the sea. Points are counted in 1453. The French must control Flanders, Aquitaine, and Brittany, and that's it. So that's kind of like, my understanding is 1453 is the accepted end to the 100 Years' War, I believe, or at least at the time this game was being made. I don't know if that's changed. I don't know if there's a different understanding of that, but I think 1453 is significant with the fall of English territory on the continent, as well as the fall of Constantinople, and that's kind of why the game used that as the famous year for the end. So we've got just the opportunity to get a lot more points. These are already in our possession. Not all of these are homelands currently, but they were or have been from the beginning or at later points. So it's a bit unfortunate that we don't have to go for them now. The only reason, the only chance that we would have to fight for them, I guess at this point, is if the papacy attacks us and starts taking those lands. And again, we've got the Danes attacking the papacy. I believe it was the Danes who attacked. They tried to move into Sweden, but canceled the attack. So now they're excommunicated for no reason. So that's very unfortunate. We are going to remain allied with the papacy, though. So we'll just stick with them, hopefully all the way through. There's going to be a lot of factions wiped off the map. I got to imagine these minor factions, as the game nears its end, are going to get just a little more active, and that's probably what we're seeing here. All right, wow, our king has died, and he didn't live as long as I expected. Although I guess that makes sense. It was around 1401. He was in his 30s. Now it's almost 30 years later. So, but he's dead, and he's got an heir taking over, but I don't think it's his son. He didn't have any sons. All right, we're losing some spies all over the map. Let's see how things are going with our heirs. All right, we've got a couple of new ones. Again, these are not heirs. Yeah, Philippe the Fourth. So this is a younger brother, not much younger, of the previous king. So he is a materialist. Great, we're getting some very good, nice traits here. No heirs currently alive, so he's got to live for another 9 years, which should be no problem. The problem, though, is, of course, the papacy. We've got the Germans still holding out in these two provinces. That's great. But the Danes are going to be eliminated here. They've only got Denmark, and they're under siege. So we'll see how long they last here. The papacy is just going to murder them and then move on. I don't think there's going to be a Danish reemergence because they never held any place like Sweden, if I remember. Maybe they had Norway. But the AI, for some reason, seems to really avoid Sweden, even though it's connected by, land to Denmark. They prefer to skip over it, even though, again, it's very wealthy. It's a great province to take for the player, but the AI seems to be shy about taking it. Not the papacy, though. They're all over that. So, actually, I'm noticing Moscow, too, has fallen to rebels. So Novgorod lost that. And Armenia is rebel again. That goes back and forth. I've got a really good spy in there. But once the Danes are eliminated, what's the papacy going to do? I guess they could go for the Germans, wipe them out, go into Russia. They've got cause. They're at war with pretty much everybody to their east. So I'm their only ally, I think. Yeah, this turn is taking a long time. So you can kind of check. There's a way to tell like who's taking the long time, but I can't. It's not very obvious. One of the portraits along the bottom of the screen, when the AI is thinking, is going to be lit up, and that signifies that faction is in fact taking its turns at the moment, calculating. And there is Denmark gone. All right. Okay, we've got a marriage to some princess. That's okay. I just need to carry through to the end. Again, we've got 2 sons. And then if he gets some sons, that'll be nice. Wouldn't it be funny, though, if if he died just now, like 20 years from the end of the game? Could happen, I guess. And Anatolia, I mean, the papacy it's crazy because there we go, we got a son. Okay, that'll keep things good, because even if he dies, the current king, if he lives another 7 years, which I think he should, then Louis is going to take over, and Prince Charles, even though he's not Louis's son, will stay on as an heir, as a nephew. So I think we're good unless this guy gets killed very soon, or we get invaded by the papacy. They're moving armies, though. But they're just not moving them to Anatolia. Alright, we're losing some spies. Not all of them. Let's check out our Armenian agent. Do we have one here anymore? Is this just I guess we don't. It's just our bishop here, who's been causing unrest. Let's check our spies. We've got a bunch of assassins. Okay, we don't have any killer spies anymore. We've got some 3 stars, places like Wessex. A lot of these places, though, have border forts. So we're kind of past the point of being able to make great gains with our agents. It's just too hard to move them around safely. But, I mean, look at the fleets, too. This is the other thing. If the papacy decides to attack me, they'll be able to move their troops around. And I won't have much of a chance of defeating them. This is worse than with Spain. Right? Spain had, like, some stacks of ships, too, but they didn't own, like, 70% of Europe. I actually think that if this were Conquest, and if you were playing as the papacy, you would probably have enough to win at this point. It's like 66%, is that right? You've got to get 2/3 of the map. They might be there. Alright, Swabia's getting attacked. Oh, right, actually that's it. So they hit both provinces simultaneously. Wow. Alright. 20 turns. Can we make it? Gotta get some guys into Poland. Okay, they're going hard. We have 20 turns left before the end of the campaign. Papacy's the strongest. Long voyage south. Thanks to the royal patronage and encouragement, the Portuguese Gil Eanes has voyaged far south across the Atlantic Ocean and along the coast of Africa. His success in traveling so far brings glory to the royal house and opens up new opportunities for welcome trade. There are new trading goods available in Portugal. All right, great. So, let's just take a look at the troops here that they got in Swabia. Okay. Really good armor upgrades. You know, they've got some provinces with iron where they're training some of these guys to get the weapon upgrades anyway. And it's a mix. It's a mix of stuff. It's not a mix of the best stuff, but then, you know, neither is mine necessarily. We do have some interesting varieties. Let's get a bunch more gendarmes. Yeah, let's train a bunch more pikes. And I think we can get our chivalric knights again down here. Because I think we've got everything we really want. I think, was it Aragon that was doing the Jeannettes, or was it Navarre? It's kind of both, I guess. Yeah, almost every sea region has like a full stack of boats. Well, at least along the western seaboard. And they're pushing now. So like they were holding back in Anatolia before. There we get another sun. But they are not holding back currently. So writing's on the wall here. The English have 3 provinces left, and then they've got, you know, this stuff. Dessa. Alright, we've got to replace a ship. And here we've got Jacques Coeur, the merchant banker to many in royal circles, a master of the mint and advisor to kings, has done much to improve trade in France. His wise counsel and clever schemes have increased the general wealth to the benefit of many, and the King of France's acumen is also increased. Princely merchant. Really cool art. And a daughter. Let's check that king's acumen. Because it was, I want to say, kind of modest. 4, 5. Okay. Now it's 6. Alright. Fine. Let's just double check our goals. I've got everything. The English still are on the board with 165, but they're just not gaining at this point. Alright, we've got to move some ships because we've lost a bit of our navy to storms and things. I want to get someone in the central Mediterranean, and I want to get someone in the Dodecanese Sea to trade with Rhodes. Oh, and I guess I need someone here too. Let's get a caravel. We'll move you up there for now, because I'm just gonna forget at this point. We're going pretty fast. Oof. So Edessa. It's Armenia and Syria. All right, we lost that Wessex spy finally. There we go, Prince Louis. Let's check him out. All right, not you. But you, okay. Natural leader and a hedonist. That's okay. Since he is the only current living heir, let's just move him over to Anjou. Okay, they didn't move into Syria like I was expecting, but the papacy is going to be hitting the English, which is great. Alright, papacy is moving assassins through here. I'm going to assume that that's not directed at me, that it's just my my assassin catching them in the dragnet as they move through using my port. Wow, okay, another death. So he must have died in his 40s, right? That's nuts. All right, so we've got another heir to look at. Prince Charles has come of age. Hard sums, great warrior. Let's take a look at our king. Where is he? Right behind the castle here. So this is Louis X. 3 influence, natural leader, hedonist. He did not inherit many of the good traits of his parents. All right, so loyalty is not looking super hot for these characters. Prince Charles, just move him right out. Sir Jean Poitevin. Yeah, so these are the heirs that had been. Let's see, you were in. I thought I moved someone to. Oh, he must be the guy who I moved to Aquitaine, Louis. But yeah, he's not super impressive. All right, well, we should be getting our 5-year warning here. I think there is a 5-year warning. The papacy has taken the Crimea, but has not yet moved into Syria or Armenia. Oh, they have moved into Armenia, and unrest in the Papal States. Wow. All right, they left that completely abandoned, it looks like. Another papacy in Egypt. We've got another marriage. Let's check the heirs real quick. Okay, Charles is 17. We've got Henri at 13, and Philippe at 8, and Jean at 5. He's 25. I mean, he should be able to last, 4 more years. But he's coming from what feels like a short-lived line, the past couple of kings. But I think this is good. The papacy has moved slowly enough that I'm no longer kind of worried that they're going to eliminate the English. I don't think they will. And that means they're probably not going to swipe at me. Unless there's some, crazy thing that happens at the last second here. Looks like they're going to assault in Armenia. And let's check this out. Yeah, they just lost the Papal States. They just gave it up. They could have moved, some units from here, almost anything. This is just a single unit of Pavese Arbalesters. I know they got no one in Venice, but I mean, they've also got the sea lanes. They could move guys from Greece. Well, actually, they don't have a ship here. So, all right, Armenia has fallen. Syria is left, as well as a few other provinces in the steppe. But the Papal States are just gone. Let's see if they try to get them back. All right, there's my 5-turn warning. And we lost a caravel. Or maybe that was an English caravel. See, we got another son being born. Right, because he got married. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's one of ours. Got lost up there, so let's move you up to there. Oh, okay. We lost an inn in Egypt. And now we've got an heir in Prince Henri. Let's just check the public order in Egypt. Looks great. Let's check Henri. Okay, yeah, we'll move him over to Anjou just for safety. Okay, Sicily. Wow, this is an unusually well-commanded loyalist revolt. Usually you don't see that. Nice, Germans. Okay, so it's just in Tyrolia, but this looks like a pretty formidable group. 4 stacks. Okay, we could get some trouble from them because they border us in Bulgaria. They're going to be at war with the papacy, who has not bothered at all to take back the Papal States. They're not interested in that in the least. But the first turn, the Germans are just going to attack Tyrolia. We'll see what the papacy does. Maybe they'll just withdraw. Yep. And they're excommunicated. Okay. And let's see what they've got. Okay, it's a fairly typical army. Not even that great, but yeah, I guess that's to be expected. For a reemergence, this is pretty good, actually. It's just disappointing that they've got such poor command and no upgrades. All right, well, this should be it, right? This is, I think maybe we hit end turn one more time. It's 1452. When we get control again, it'll be 1453. And then I think I'm not sure, actually. Maybe this was the last time we got to hit end year. So I think points are counted in 1453. But maybe they're counted at the end. Alright, but we got it. We are not going to have to fight the Pope, I don't think. Alright, the Germans eliminated immediately. Whoa! We've got some competing music tracks here. We've got the homelands. And I think what we're going to do, we're going to see here, is that we're going to get a victory screen when we hit end year. So basically, we've got 239 points to the English 166. They just didn't have anything other than conquest at that point. The Byzantines are still on the board technically, but had just 2 points from probably, I don't know what. I don't know why they even have 2 here. But no one else is around. If we check the diplomacy, it's a weird group of people. The Byzantines are still alive on Rhodes. The English are still barely alive in the east and, in the steppe a little bit in Russia. We've got the Golden Horde, interestingly, allowed to survive here in Ryazan and Khazar. That may be it. Maybe they've got Chernigov. The papacy and the people of Novgorod in Finland, and I think that's it. So we'll go to the end year and see what's going to happen here. I don't know if any big moves are going to take place. Everybody's frantically deciding if they're going to how exactly they're going to betray me here at the 11th hour. All right, victory. The year is 1453, and the time has come to assess the glory of your realm. Your glorious achievements outstrip those of all your rivals. Victory is yours. Great. So we'll see. Yes. Though your rivals survived alongside your outstanding empire, they were unable to match your achievements. Glory is yours. So we've got the little court art here, and then we are going to get a little spoken word here in a second, which may be a little quiet.
Vive la France, vive l'Empereur. Great is his glory, and that of the French nation. Supreme in power and wealth, and rich in civilization and culture. Its armies have ranged across the continent and beyond, taking possession of men's bodies, while its civilization conquers men's hearts. Not even the ancients could match the splendor of the French nation. Long may it endure. Vive la France!
All right, very nice. You really brought the accent there at the end. So this is an interesting campaign. The French are really fun to play from early on Glorious Achievements mode because they have such crazy goals. You know, we accomplished a lot of what I wanted to do here. The Crack de Chevalier. Technically, we got it, but we upgraded it out of existence, unfortunately, so we didn't get the point there. But I think we can claim a moral victory on that one. We got a lot of our Crusade goals. We got a lot of our building goals. We eventually got our homelands, and there were some fraught moments, right, with the war with the Spanish in particular, some English wars, and then, of course, the emergence of the papacy, which is quite alarming. But by being a faithful ally to the Pope throughout, we avoided his interference up until the very end. So we managed to slide in with a victory there. So, not sure what we're going to do next on the channel. I've got, my perennial interest in a Byzantine Glorious Achievements campaign, which is sort of the exact opposite of the French. The Byzantines have basically no unique goals. They've got, some homelands. They've got conquest. I think they may have a goal of, take Constantinople at some point, right? But depending on when you start, that can be incredibly easy. So a Byzantine start in the high period, or even the late period, seems most interesting to me. The early period, you kind of got everything to win. But we'll see. We'll definitely come back to this game in the future. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think, and take care until the next one.